what is that you would like this event to sort of achieve?
Well, I think there's one thing I would like it to achieve, and that would be to cheer Salman Rushdie up a bit in his travail. I met him once. He won't remember, but it was at a lunch in New York, and it was all very busy, and I didn't really have a chance to talk to him, far less get to know him. But I admire him very much, and of course was shocked, as everybody else in the world was, on hearing about this attack. So I hope that this event, among other things, will at least say to him, look, we're here. We admire you, we value you enormously, and we relish your work, and we want you to continue. That's one thing. The other thing is that I hope it will be a sort of marker for the public, to remind the public that freedom of expression is not something you can take for granted. It's something that is continuously and continually in danger, not only from governments, but from large corporations, from people who control the media, who control the social media, and can switch us on or off, it seems, like switching on or off a light. And to have your voice silenced without any means of making yourself heard is a terrible fate, a ghastly thing to do to anyone. We should all stand up for freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of the pen, freedom of the word. And this event, I hope, will remind some people of the importance of doing that. It's very appropriate that it should be here in the Bodleian Library, one of the great repositories of literature, of course, of the written word. And as Richard Ovenden reminded us in his introduction, a little act of heroism on the part of a librarian. We don't often think of librarians as heroes, but the librarian who hid the works of John Milton in the days when that poet was in great peril was a hero. And it deserves to be recorded and remembered and celebrated. So I was very glad to take part in this event for those reasons.
What role can libraries, like the Bodleian Library in particular, but more generally as well, can play in sort of harvesting and supporting the freedom of expression?
Well, great institutions like the Bodleian Library, like the British Library, like the other university libraries and copyright libraries in this country are fairly safe, I think, fairly safe from any kind of danger of being broken up, sold off to private hands, burnt, whatever. So they are a very important fortress, as it were, looking after the written word. And they are important because they give to scholars the freedom to range from the very earliest written words to the very latest inscriptions in pixels on a screen. Exceptionally important. They're not a repository of dead things. They're a living organism. The word lives in libraries, it lives in books. It's preserved, it's nurtured, it's looked after, and it gives rise to new books, new works. It's a wonderfully living soil in which the seeds of ideas can take root and germinate and sprout. They are great, great institutions. Richard Ovenden's book about libraries and the dangers they faced is a wonderful testament to that. This is the opening of 2 years, 8 months, and 28 nights. Very little is known, though much has been written, about the true nature of the jinn, the creatures made of smokeless fire. Whether they are good or evil, devilish or benign, such questions are hotly disputed. These qualities are broadly accepted, that they are whimsical, capricious, wanton, that they can move at high speed, alter their size and form, and grant many of the wishes of mortal men and women, should they so choose, or if by coercion they are obliged to do so, and that their sense of time differs radically from that of human beings. They are not to be confused with angels, even though some of the old stories erroneously state that the devil himself, the fallen angel Lucifer, son of the morning, was the greatest of the jinn.
I just wanted to ask you about your selection of the piece that you read today. Why this and not something else?
Well, I always enjoyed this passage since I first read that book, not all that long ago. The idea of the jinn and the idea that they can have a nature and can be written about and sort of classified and described and made fun of as well as held in something like awe appeals to me very much. It's the kind of thing I like writing. It's the kind of thing I have many times stolen from other books, including a book which one of my fellow readers, Marina Warner, knows very well, a book called The Secret Commonwealth, whose title I stole. So that appealed to me because it belongs to a world that I'm familiar with, that I like to think I've got a passport for, in the way that some people are lucky enough to have two passports. So if there was a Brexit, if there was a sort of fairyland Brexit, I wouldn't have to queue up with everybody. I could still go in the, he belongs to us queue. That's why I read that passage. Also because, of course, like so much else of Salman Rushdie's writing, it's beautifully clear, beautifully vivid, and full of turns of phrase that could come from no one else.
Phillip Pullman, thank you very much.
Thank you.